Hi, I'm Shreya and this is Decoding Code. In this video, we are going to be talking about tree maps, and I have before on this channel talked about tree sets and hash maps. So this is kind of a mishmash of those. And in my tree sets video, I did talk a little bit more in detail about the tree data structure than I will in this video. So if you want to go over there and watch that, then feel free to do that. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So what is a tree map? A map basically means that you can add these key value pairs. Basically, this key value pair, it's a pair, and the key is kind of like an identification system for the value. So you can access the value through the key, and that's basically just kind of like a connecting point. And they are added to your tree map just like elements are added to a list or a set. And they just come in pairs like that. And the tree part of this basically means that everything is sort of interconnected like a tree diagram. So if you have one key, then that key is kind of knowing what's before it and what's after it, since it's all kind of connected like that. The key value pair kind of knows where it is. And you can access the first value, or in this case, that would basically mean the kind of floor value, and then the ceiling value is the last kind of value, but we'll go over all of that later. And basically, you can access those sorts of data because all of it is interconnected, like those kind of tree diagrams that you used to use in like multiplication. I don't know if you did, but that's the sort of kind of structure of the tree data structure. That is what a tree map is, and because of the tree data structure, you can have a bunch more methods that you can use with the tree maps. So we'll be going over those pretty much right now. So let's get into some of the methods that you can use with these tree maps. First, the dot put just assigns those key value pairs. For me, I have this bookstore that I created that's the object of the tree map class, and I am putting with my key, those are going to be the strings, the names of the books, and then the value is going to be a double or the price of the book. So that's how I chose to do it. Any sort of identification system for the key that you want to do, go ahead. And then some of the sort of methods that you can use because of that tree data structure that I was talking about is, okay, so I was talking about how the key kind of knows the keys and values before and after it. And these are the methods that allow you to access that sort of data. You can access the first and last entries, that means the key and value mappings. So you can access the first one, the last one. You can access the keys just by themselves as well, so the first key and the last key. And something that I wanted to talk about the methods is that actually, if it talks about, like here it says floor entry, what does that mean? So generally the floor is below you, right? And the tree map orders it based on ascending order. So that would mean the floor would come first and then it ascends and then the ceiling would come after or last. So that's basically the gist of it. That's how I like to remember that. So the floor, if it's talking about the floor, that means the kind of first value. Or if it's talking about like the floor in terms of another key, that would mean the key before that key, or the key and value before that key. And then ceiling would be the key and value after that key. So just something to keep in mind when you see methods that are named like floor entry, floor key, ceiling key. When it's talking about floor something, it's talking about less than or equal to. And then when it's talking about ceiling something, it's going to be talking about greater than or equal to. Right, so then if you get a head map, that is going to get the keys or the portion of that map where the keys are less than a certain key. So I have legacy here. Here I have it in a certain form. And I have legacy, it's kind of in the middle. So head map will get me everything that's before that, I believe. Let's go see. So here we can see we got the Catching Fire and Flashback, and both of those books were actually before Legacy, and these are real books. They're pretty good. You should read them, just saying. Anyways, and then you can also put true after that if you want it to be inclusive. So in the next one, it gave me Catching Fire, Flashback, and Legacy because Legacy is included there. And when it talks about higher key or lower key, that means just less than or greater than, not equal to. Higher entry, lower entry, those are just greater than, strictly greater than, and strictly less than. And also, when we're talking about poll, that basically means removing and returning. So if we're talking about poll first entry, that means we're removing and returning the first entry. And if we're talking about dot poll last entry, it's removing and returning the last entry. So that's basically just what kind of poll means usually. Yeah, and you can actually do a lot with these. There's a tail map. The head map was everything before a certain point, and the tail map is everything after a certain key. And I talked about the ceiling and ceiling key and ceiling entry, things like that. And it becomes easier to kind of recognize the method names once you've used them a little bit more. So you guys should probably go through that on your own and figure out the methods. But just something to keep in mind, the ceiling is like higher or after, floor is lower or before, and then the pole, what does that mean? All of that stuff, it's good to know. There are other methods that you can use that are just kind of that you can use with a lot of collections. So if you did something like this on Eclipse, you could see all of these, and you can do a lot with that. So I encourage you to go and figure that out on your own. Why would you want to use a tree map? Well, it has that tree data structure, which allows you to access a lot of data that you might not with another collection. And also, if you have something that's kind of hierarchical, I don't know, English is weird. But if you have something that's kind of like a hierarchy that you wanted to use a tree data structure for, it kind of sorts that for you as well. So that's very useful. And the map, if you have a certain way you want to identify your values that isn't an address or index, like an array, then you can use a tree map. And yeah, there are lots of collections for all of the different kind of situations that you might find yourself in. And yeah, this is one of them. I hope this video was informational for you guys. If you did like it, leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. You can comment down below if you want to, and I upload every single Monday, and I hope I see you again next week. Bye!